Hi, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be continuing talking about removing the tyrant, and this will be part three. So, the main point I want to emphasize is not to get discouraged because we have to remember that when we're dealing with the tyrant that is within self, it has been there for several years. So we can't, or we shouldn't try, we should try not to expect it to change overnight, so to speak. We have to prepare ourselves to take time to go through this process and allow the change to take place. So we have to know the tests will keep coming to see if the tyrant is truly dethroned, right? So you will be tested to see the strength of your soldiers, so to speak. After confronting that tyrant, you may notice that you communicated well and that your ideas are now being taken into consideration, right? You're actually noticing that you're thinking differently. And so it seems to be working, right? And this is great news. And it definitely relieves some tension within self. But getting too comfortable leaves the heart open. And an open heart is not immune to being hurt. Therefore, you must remain alert for possible attacks. Any of the demands or criticisms of the tyrant may come up again. And if you're not alert to that, it will feel like an ambush and you will scramble to defend yourself. And your being defensive in that situation will not turn out well. When we are defensive, we usually use an elevated tone of voice and we tend to argue our position. And when the tyrant feels attacked because of our being self-defensive, right? Like being defensive and arguing, they're going to feel attacked, and then it'll just create more chaos if you do not focus within and compose yourself. So it's realizing that your weapons, those tools that you are gathering to learn and get better, those tools will not be with you at first, meaning all that you've studied and trained for, it'll be like it's unreachable in the mind. You're now in survival mode without the proper protection. So this is because when we become too relaxed, it's like when your soldiers are taking a break and they've stayed on break too long. It's important that they stay on post, get back on guard as soon as possible. That way they'll be prepared when you are interacting with everyone, especially those closest to you, because those are the ones that we think we can be most comfortable with. And a lot of times those, of course, that means those are our weak areas. And it's how the enemy uses that place as a way to attack us. So we have to be aware. And it's important that I clarify, I'm not talking about being paranoid. That's the extreme. It's just being conscious of what is taking place so that you can properly assess the moment and access that part of your mind with those tools that will help you decide how to respond in each moment when you're interacting with people. So, if you've experienced this kind of ambush that I've described, and you know it did not turn out well, it means that your soldiers will need more practice. You will need to implement a procedure for those emergencies. So you can try researching tips for calming yourself down in stressful situations, and you can research things like how to release tension within yourself, within your body, etc. Things like that. You can ask yourself, how could I have done better in that moment? And getting that knowledge is equipping your toolkit, your mental toolkit. When you experience any type of stress, that's when you must decide to use those tools in order to practice. And this is the training of your soldiers. So the more practice, the better prepared you'll be for emergencies. Those moments that feel like an ambush. It can also be kind of like a pop quiz if you think about it. When you're going through these different moments that you feel attacked, it feels like a pop quiz. We know when the test is most times, but it's that pop quiz it's that, unexpected testing of what we know. And on this journey of self-development, there are areas we do desire to improve, right? And for real change to occur, we have to practice until it becomes easier, like second nature for us. So notice at which moments of your experiences where there's the opportunity for you to show up differently, right? So for example, if your desire is to be more patient, like mine, that's my desire, then reflect on the times you feel impatient. Reflect on those times where you know that you've experienced that impatience. And in your mind, think about how you could have responded differently, right? So that way, when you encounter that situation again, you know this is something that you can try. It's you practicing. And then when it actually comes up in your real life, then you'll know that is your test. So don't get frustrated. Stay conscious. Recognize why it's coming up again. And see it as your opportunity to show up differently. Because if you're not properly prepared, your heart drops down to your stomach when you notice that pop quiz. And you might even notice your heart starting to race, especially if the results of that test will have a great impact on your grade or, whatever that outcome is that you're desiring. So it's important for us to try to remember we can't expect change when we keep doing the same thing. Just wishing for it and complaining about it, it's not going to do anything. So this training and preparing for that ambush is a significant step in removing the tyrant. And again, that tyrant is within self. And As within, so without. So recognizing what we're going through internally will show up externally. A lot of it is related if we take the time to notice it. So, identifying that tyrant as being that part of us that is holding back our freedom, it's holding back our happiness, and whatever else it is that it might be for you. So, I encourage you, listen to part 1 and 2 if you haven't already, that I talk more about removing the tyrant so that you can understand this concept and really move forward in that change that you desire. Okay, so that's it for today, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.